A warm welcome back to the show. It's me, Omar Bam, aka Crypto, and it's a real treat to be back with you guys. I'm sorry for the late update, but as always, I thank you all for the unwavering support and patience while we get these videos out to you guys. But it really is a pleasure, and I want to thank you guys for joining me. We're going to be diving into quite a bit today. There's a lot of news to catch up on, and it's really relevant to what's going on today and what's happened over this past week while we kind of cast our gaze further into horizon and try to figure out what's going to be going on with crypto. So take a seat, grab a drink, and let's get started here as it's me, your friendly neighborhood crypto, ready to dive in with you guys and explore what's been going on. Anyway, let's go ahead and start off with CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin rebounding a bit. It had gotten slammed a lot. Earlier, it went down to $64,000, but it's now rebounding up 1.2% over the last hour and up 0.7% over the last 24 hours. And over the last 7 days, it's not a nothing burger. It's up 3.4%. It's currently just short of $66,000. And Ethereum is at $3,176. It is down substantially more than Bitcoin. At one point, it was down over 7.5% today. Yeah, it was painful, right? And still down 4.6% over the last 24 hours. However, over the last hour, or while we're even doing this video, it's definitely rebounding. So nice to see that it's not going to be a sustained drop off, at least not yet. It looks like it wants to rebound here. There was some aggressive selling that took place, but passive investors came in and seemed to have bid things back up. And that's what's going on right now. And that's pretty much the story across the board. Alt's getting hit harder than Bitcoin here after this recent drop off, as you can see. Current market cap for all cryptos, $2.467 trillion, down 1.1% over the last 24 hours. What's going on, Renee? Nice to see you, fam. Hey, Kevin, good evening to you. It's afternoon here. It's 5 p.m. I guess that counts as evening, right? Hope you're doing well, Kevin. Nice to see you drop in always. So, yeah, we have to go ahead and move forward here. We have quite a bit to get into, but so this is the daily chart for Bitcoin. It goes back quite a bit, but here I have the 50-day moving average and I have the 200-day moving average. So the 50-day is in red and we have the 200-day moving average in blue. As I've mentioned before, generally it's a good time to buy when you see this red line, the 50-day moving average, climb over the blue line and stay above it. Usually you're quite safe in those kinds of periods. And you want to buy usually when it's in the red. If history does repeat itself, it does tend to, again, rise up again over the blue line and signal that we are perhaps in a more bullish market. We are seeing right now that the red line, so the 50-day moving average, is dropping a bit as the 200-day catches up here. So if this red line does cause some sort of death cross, that could be worse, I think, for Bitcoin, but it's still right now tentative if that's going to happen. And really, it could go any way. For me, it looks more like it wants to rebound here. It looks like it wants to continue a bullish continuation, especially with the rebound that we're getting right now as we speak. So I'm not too really concerned about this, but we'll definitely be monitoring that as we go forward here. So yeah, Bitcoin nosedived earlier as Asian markets apparently suffered. It went down from 65,500 to 64,100 within minutes early today. And we had Ethereum lost about $100 million, a massive amount, 7.5% slump at the most extremes earlier today. Highest liquidations were among certain exchanges like OKX and Huobi, which are popular Asian markets. So you can see why that happened. And this might be just kind of following what we've been happening. Hey, what's up, Tournament Dan? Yo, what's up, Tournament Dan? Hope you're winning those tournaments, man. Tournament Dan. We had tech stocks have quite a bit of a sell-off yesterday. Earnings did not come in strong. You saw Google have a huge hit. As low as 12% loss it shed on Wednesday yesterday. And the Magnificent Seven tech stocks, right, who have been heavily into AI recently, had suffered their biggest drop for that group, $750 billion in market cap yesterday. And so there was a lot of talk, wow, this is incredible. Maybe this is the great decoupling that started to come out. Maybe Bitcoin is holding up so well, and then that's signaling that decoupling while you're seeing these tech stocks drop off, although they have been quite correlated in the past. And today, it looks like Bitcoin finally, and Ethereum, maybe even more so, are kind of catching down, not catching up. Yeah, catching down to those tech stocks. I think that's partly what probably dropped the market here as Asian markets started to catch up with what's going on here. But there's plenty more that we could be looking at that could be the reasons for why we saw this sell-off. So Ethereum ETFs debuted 2 days ago, and they had quite a strong start compared to most ETFs that launch. But yeah, it had inflows. Oh no, actually, well, this page here that we're looking at right now is actually talking about Grayscale. So Grayscale had really one of the only options to get an Ethereum ETF or ETN type product, exchange traded note, in the past with their ETHE opportunity, but they have huge rates. So if you're going to be trying to pick up ETHE from Grayscale and their investment trust, you're paying about 2.5% fees, which are substantially more than any ETF that has launched or that is available now. So you're seeing outflows from this Grayscale trust, and that is probably seeking opportunity elsewhere, maybe in other ETFs, to not pay those huge fees, that 2.5% fee. So likely that is part of what's caused this net outflow of over $327 million here that we're seeing reported on CoinDesk. So this could be kind of a short-term thing. Maybe this capital is seeking to be sent somewhere else to buy a better managed product with lower fees, and so we could see inflows continue to climb here for these new ETF products. So we have the SEC approving various spot either ETFs that are going to be available or are available on a CBOE exchange, the Chicago Board Options Exchange. So this started on July 23rd. Pending approval, it finally launched. So we had, for example, Invesco Galaxy Ethereum ETF, the Van Eck Ethereum ETF, finally, Franklin Ethereum ETF, Fidelity Ethereum Fund, and 21 shares Core Ethereum ETF. And we also got these that are available on the NYSE ARCA that were available on July 23rd as well. And that's the Grayscale's Ethereum Mini Trust and the ProShares Ethereum ETF. So like, damn, they came in hot. And they did get quite a bit of inflows, as I mentioned here, $361 million in volume in the first 90 minutes. So this is pretty huge. Let's see. These figures highlight the strong demand for Ethereum-based investment vehicles, far surpassing the typical volume, writes here CryptoSlate.com, for new ETF launches, which often struggle to get to just $1 million a day. So instead, we saw $361 million worth of demand for Ethereum ETF. But this was only about 25% of the demand that we saw when the Bitcoin ETF launched. So it's something that has caused, I think, a little bit shakiness around Ethereum. We thought there would be more demand, but I think 25%, looking at Bitcoin being like the biggest product, is actually really, really nice to see. And we'll be looking at more at what other commentators are saying in just a minute there. But Grayscale's ETHE had the highest reported volume as they converted it to an ETF product, but still huge fees at $147.8 million. Then BlackRock's ETHA with $71.4 million. Bitwise's ETHW at $50.4 million. Fidelity's FETH had a record $49.3 million in volume. And then you can see the other numbers down here. But I think these are not small numbers at all. And there is more word around the street, I guess the crypto street, that this is reinvigorating the overall cryptocurrency market, as we will look at in just a minute. But one thing that could have also portended this sell-off that we're seeing, especially in Asian markets, is that we had China do a surprise rate cut. So this rate cut took their rates from 2.5% to 2.3%, injecting 200 billion yuan, or about $27.5 billion of liquidity into the market. And this is possibly causing a kind of panic, according to this article here on CoinDesk right now. this is not a strong signal seeing from this economy. So according to Elon Solo, a senior global strategist at Morex Solutions, shared in a note to CoinDesk, equity futures are stable after yesterday's bloody session that shook views across all asset classes. This decision by the People's Bank of China to cut rates in a surprise move only added to the sense of panic, according to them. It's interesting. You see China cut rates, you see a sell-off. But I personally feel that when the U.S. gets to cutting rates towards the end of the year, I personally expect that we are going to see actually catalyzing of prices here for risk assets like cryptocurrencies that have performed quite strongly despite COVID, despite hiking interest rates, despite so many things. We are continuing to see strength. And part of this is also being reflected in different administrations' views, or at least what they're saying when it comes to try to get elected, right? So Trump, who has been saying more and more positive things about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. Trump to speak at the Bitcoin conference in 2 days. So the big Bitcoin conference that's being hosted by Bitcoin Magazine is taking place. It started today, and it's going to be from the 25th to the 27th, Nashville, Tennessee. I believe they have another one coming up in October in Amsterdam, and they're the same ones that host the one in Miami as well. Trump has been scheduled to speak for 30 minutes on Saturday, and this has led... Oh, yeah. Earlier in the day, speculation of a Trump appearance increased as speakers told CoinDesk their slot was reassigned to make room for what an email described as a very special guest. Sorry, you're not cool enough to speak. We have a more important person. And it looks like it is indeed Trump, scheduled to speak at 2 p.m. Central Time on the last day of the conference. And yeah, his upcoming speech is likely to further burnish a self-assigned image of crypto booster, despite previous, I love this part, despite previous misgivings of the tech during his first administration. That's like, I remember that. I remember hearing all this positivity back in 2016 when I first started my show about how he would get elected, and we would see cryptos soar, and he would be like the Bitcoin president, and it just was not the case. In fact, he said some rather negative things once he was running things, but now he's kind of reversed course. He's trying to get elected, grab the crypto vote, and yeah, I think what's interesting also is that he could speak at a different conference. There's another huge conference that's taking place right now related to stocks, but instead he is going to the Bitcoin conference to speak as well. So I think that is something pretty positive as well. And this has driven volatility expectations for options and other futures type products. There's like this butterfly they get to into this article. So you're looking at the spot price, and then you're looking at these different options contracts, put, call options, call it's going to go up by this date. Looks like most of them are resolving between the 27th and the 31st of this month, when the Federal Reserve is going to be announcing their possible future interest rate moves and announcements. And so you see these call options are getting really far removed from the spot price, more volume there, more demand for those contracts, and the same with the put option. So this kind of creates a butterfly as you try to buy these contracts. They get more expensive away from the spot price. This means that there's an expectation of probably volatility, huge moves to come up here soon, either to the upside or downside. And why would this happen related to this Trump conference, perhaps? Perhaps that is because some are expecting that this is going to be when he announces that he is with his administration going to create a strategic national reserve for Bitcoin. So imagine some sort of like, instead of gold, we hold Bitcoin. And that could be something that, because US being a leader, is then adopted by other countries around the world. And so you're seeing traders calling for $1 million Bitcoin. If you see that it becomes a national reserve currency over time as that is added into it, and then potentially even more as you see other countries adopt Bitcoin as a national reserve currency. But as you can probably tell from the title, do I personally think that he's going to announce that it's going to be a strategic reserve currency? Absolutely not. I'm sure there's plenty of conservative voters out there that he would like to pander to, that would not like to see a shift away from how things are running right now and switching more to a crypto-centric economy, especially when most people, especially I guess like older types who haven't really gotten around to understanding ledgers and cryptocurrencies and blockchains, they just cannot possibly grasp what this would mean. This might be something that could be dangerous, risky. Where is the research that this would be good? They would prefer to see that kind of thing. So in a 30-minute talk at a conference for Bitcoin Magazine, do I think he's going to announce a national reserve currency or treasury, rather, strategic asset being Bitcoin? I highly doubt that personally, based on my experiences. But I would love to know what you guys think. Are you someone who thinks that's going to be happening? Because if so, then this would be a great time to be buying cryptos, right? Especially once we saw prices drop right now, to buy the dip and so on. Or there is the potential of a sell the news event. So instead we hype up that maybe he's going to announce the strategic reserve currency. No, not maybe. Certainly going to announce it. Why else would he speak at the Bitcoin conference? He's definitely going to do it, right? And then sell the news. So this is the kind of, let's not call it propaganda, but let's call it propaganda kind of thing you got to kind of watch out for while you're on the crypto social media websites. Anyway, moving forward, we got more to talk about here. This had also broken. We had heard Trump was going to be speaking. We heard that he was the Bitcoin president and so on. And of course, it was an assassination attempt. Survived. Apparently by the very next day, he was able to remove the bandages around his ear and like barely a scratch. Incredible. Oh man, the funny business in this society. Anyway, it's ridiculous. So then I had seen this coming out. There were rumors that Kamala Harris would be coming to speak at this Bitcoin conference as well. And this was not confirmed. It was not confirmed yet, but it was being shared as though it was confirmed. So now like suddenly crypto bipartisan thing, maybe Biden, who by the way, if you don't know, somehow has dropped out, right? And is being replaced by Kamala Harris, the Democratic Party here, that suddenly now she realizes maybe this crypto vote is important. Maybe pandering to Wall Street that is more and more adopting cryptocurrencies, embracing these innovations. BlackRock talking about Bitcoin like left and right. Larry Fink, the CEO, maybe now they realize that it's better to embrace cryptocurrencies as a party in order to get that sort of vote and come out ahead. But this was not confirmed. And it doesn't look like she's going to be speaking at all, since she apparently had till July 23rd, so 2 days ago by the end of the day, to confirm whether she would be speaking or not, and no official confirmation came out of that. So sorry to disappoint on that one, but I did want to share that. It would be nice to see everyone kind of embrace the goods of crypto. And one person who has espoused the negatives of crypto, despite seeming like he would embrace it when he was teaching classes at MIT, is the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. It looks like he is likely to resign by probably January or February of next year, so early next year, as the new administration comes into office. It does seem to be a trend, right, where as a new administration comes in, you kind of go kick rocks, you go outside, you touch grass, you leave the job, you get up off the chair, and then somebody else takes it. And that looks like it could be the case. Gary Gensler's term is not due to end until June 5th, 2026, but is expected now to resign by January, February 2025. He's been very, very heavy-handed and aggressive. There are so many problems in this world, but he has focused so much, it seems, in his administration, right, his team, on cryptocurrencies, and that, I think, has created a very negative reputation and damaged the credibility of cryptocurrencies when all you see is the bad in the news. As SEC chairman Gary Gensler just had it out for like all sorts of products and people in this space. So I think this would actually be really good news. I don't know how it could get much worse than Gary Gensler, but I've been surprised time and time again. So we will see who ends up in that chair. Touch grass. I heard from Wendy O, says Renee, that Kamala has been getting educated on Bitcoin as well. Cool. I wonder what Wendy said about that. Damn, I haven't seen Wendy in so long. I used to hang out with Wendy all the time in LA. There was like this lounge. It was really, really cool. It's called the Crypto Space. And they had a Bitcoin ETM, and they had all sorts of events all the time, and there would be couches. I think I shot a video or two out there, and it was such a good time, and they eventually got shut down, but all sorts of like people like Wendy would show up there, and it was kind of a blast to just hang out and chat like real with these people and get to know them. But yeah, I definitely respect her words. She's been in the space for some time now, for sure. I think she really started getting involved in 2018 is when I remember Wendy kind of blowing up. Hey, yeah. What else we got here? Oh, yeah. So here's the conference, Bitcoin 2024, July 25th through 27th. It's taking place right now. He's going to be speaking on the last day, Trump. And then Bitcoin Amsterdam sounds fun, but I probably will not be able to afford to go to Amsterdam. That would be so much fun. Sponsor me. I'll make live streams. Anyway, October 9th through the 10th. If you did want to check out the conference, I really appreciate what Bitcoin Magazine has done here. Instead of charging people for access to a live stream, which to me always seems like such a ripoff. Here, pay $300 and watch a live stream. Instead, you can watch Nashville Day 1 here pinned on their Twitter. And it's like an 8-hour stream. So if you're bored and you just want to check out some of these talks, I invite you to check out their Twitter page there. BlackRock, speaking at that conference, sees very little interest in crypto ETFs beyond Bitcoin and Ethereum. This doesn't mean that we're not going to see ETFs like Solana, which is probably the most anticipated ETF after Ethereum approval. But according to BlackRock saying in a panel, I would say that our client base today, their interest overwhelmingly is in Bitcoin first, and then somewhat in ETH. And then there's very little interest today beyond those two. I don't think we're going to see a long list of crypto ETFs. Mitchnick said, Robert Mitchnick, head of digital assets at BlackRock. But yeah, so they primarily just see Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's pretty much where they're all in. We can kind of tell here that BlackRock is not focused on anything else outside of these offerings right now. But this is different from what we're hearing from others in this space. So like Franklin Templeton writing on an X post 2 days ago, besides Bitcoin and Ethereum, there are other exciting and major developments that we believe will drive the crypto space forward, likely talking about other products like a Solana one potentially in the future here. But yeah, right now the name of the game is Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I think based on how those perform, we might see other products in the future. I'm someone who does anticipate that we will see those products. If there's demand for trading of these things, and this is noticed by these different institutions that have now kind of done this, they've pioneered the way, they've set up frameworks for this, then I think there could very well be opportunities here, and there's no reason to stick your head in a hole if you're looking for those to come out. So this is something that people thought was a deep fake at first, as there were videos being shared on X, but it does seem indeed to be real. So for the 8th anniversary of Crypto.com, they managed to get Bitcoin and their exchange on the dome in Las Vegas. It actually looks really, really cool there on the sphere. Yeah, you can see there Crypto.com. Then you'll see Bitcoin looking really, really cool. And apparently there was a rule in place where they would not allow for any cryptocurrency advertisements on the dome, but maybe now that's been broken by Crypto.com for whatever reason. We know that they do like to invest heavily in marketing and advertising in ways that astonish the average person, right? And I think this is another example of that. So this could open up the way for other kinds of or other avenues for these kinds of cryptocurrency products to be available there as well. So yeah, I just thought it looked super cool. Look at that Bitcoin logo. Really, really neat. Ethereum wallet moves 92K ETH after 7 years. So there's this wallet, and it moved 92,500 ETH earlier today, 6 hours ago. You can see a test transaction. They were sent 1 ETH, this account here, and then shortly afterward, 92,500 ETH basically. And then it's sitting there. So where did this go? Not really sure. Could be them moving funds around for some other purpose. Could it be sold? I don't know, but that is something that potentially could be risky to the market. Will it create value for you? Usually these kinds, if it is some sort of investment, do take a long time to play out. But just something I wanted to note here, so you guys can have that kind of in the back of your heads, that there is movement from a wallet that's been dormant since 2017 that's linked to the Ethereum Foundation, and probably the ICO. Not a small amount. You can see almost $300 million in this portfolio, primarily in ETH. They also, for some reason, got sent Layer 0 token. Like, it's so pointless. Anyway, Marathon, so the biggest Bitcoin miner, has announced that they're going to be strengthening their own. They're creating their own strategic treasury reserve asset portfolio. And that's going to be, of course, with Bitcoin. So they announced that they have bought 100 million Bitcoin. They didn't sell any Bitcoin over the last month, and I believe also in June they announced, and instead now they are hodling. They've gone into full-on hodl mode instead, I guess, buying this dip that we saw recently in Bitcoin. So good job with that one. They seem to know what they're doing. Mara, according to Fred Thiel, the chairman and CEO at Marathon Digital Holdings, who announced this on X. So yeah, I think that's kind of bullish. They could potentially in the future sell some. They have left the door open to be able to sell if they need to support monthly operations, to manage the treasury, and for general corporate purposes, of course. But it looks like they're more keen on stacking and holding Bitcoin rather than selling it to fund operations there. But if they're sitting so good, when you see so many other small-time miners struggling here, I think this is a problem because it does show that perhaps we are seeing more centralization when it comes to mining for Bitcoin. When you can see one entity here, one corporate entity gets so powerful as to be able to buy Bitcoin when all the other ones are really kind of having to sell, right? We were talking about this like moment where they would capitulate the miners and you'd see overall just selling. And that's not what we're seeing here with the biggest Bitcoin miner, Marathon, who's gone full hodl. Bitstamp has now received the Mt. Gox creditor funds. So Mt. Gox has been issuing it to different exchange partners that are going to enable their users to withdraw the Bitcoin Cash. And according to this ETH, I didn't even know they were getting ETH. Why would there be ETH? But I guess that was an option for repayment here, unless this is some sort of typo. But I'm probably missing something. But anyway, they were going to start repaying creditors today, July 25th. And folks are saying, well, we're not seeing like huge outflows from exchanges that have been getting these Mt. Gox tokens. So potentially this means that a lot of these different creditors are not selling their Bitcoin. They're more keen on hodling here, which is perhaps what we're seeing. So right now it looks like it's the case that Mt. Gox creditors are due $9.4 billion worth of Bitcoin to approximately 127,000 creditors who've been waiting 10 years to recover these funds. But yeah, it's going to take about a full week after Bitstamp recipients get so like today they're able to see how much they're due, right? And then they're going to be able to get full access to those coins within the week, pending necessary security controls, according to an announcement shared with Cointelegraph here, full control of assets. So I think within a week, we'll probably have more of an idea, at least from the Bitstamp standpoint, as to how many are really selling here. But Mt. Gox still has a whopping 90,000 Bitcoin left to give out to creditors, valued at roughly $6 billion. So that's a lot from the 9 billion plus percent that they started off with. So they've only done about 33% really of what they're expected to issue out. So still there's the potential that a lot of this could be sold. But there was a recent Reddit poll that was conducted in the Mt. Gox insolvency subreddit, and 56% of the 467 creditors who polled do not plan on selling their Bitcoin holdings, while 20% or 88 individuals who were polled plan to sell their holdings, and the remaining respondents indicated they plan on selling a portion of their Bitcoin while choosing to hold the remainder. I mean, that sounds like it makes a lot of sense since you've made 8,500% profit over the last year. You might want to sell some. At least a little bit. I think selling all of it is a little bit ridiculous unless you like really didn't have that much. So I think it is the case for me to think that really we're not going to see some sort of massive outflow from Bitcoin because of Mt. Gox. So to me, this is that boogeyman again, finally getting rid of in the closet. The Mt. Gox creditors getting all this Bitcoin and selling it into market and causing chaos. I think that's going to be dying down finally over this next week. As users do what they need to do, and we'll kind of settle there to see where we go with respect to the price anyway. And then just check this out. This is a little concerning. I ran into this. This is an economist for Heritage, Com4 Prosperity. Anyway, his name is E.J. Antoni, PhD. He said, just the cost to service the federal debt, pay the interest, has exploded 33% in a single year, and it's getting worse. That is insane. Apparently something like 66%, 67% of like payments that are made for taxes are already going to pay the interest rate rather than doing other things like national security or infrastructure. Infrastructure spending, any other kind of investment spending. Instead, we're wasting it all on interest payments. This is massive. The cost to service the federal debt exploded 33%. I have to hammer that in a single year. This is exponentiality. This is what leads to hyperinflation. This is the kind of thing that will lead to a real craving for a solid strategic reserve asset such as Bitcoin moving forward here. So I'm sitting pretty here. I'm happy to still be involved in cryptocurrency, and I thank you all so much for staying with me with your unwavering support and dedication to this channel and helping me here, right? When times have been tough, so many of you guys have been here and it keeps me going, man. I really want to say thank you all, especially those of you guys who tune into the live streams and take the time anytime to show up here. What's up, Miles? I really appreciate you guys. Did the WIF logo? Yes, I think they did. That did make it into the sphere at the end. I think it was related to the WIF, which is how they were able to get that sponsorship on the sphere. So I don't know exactly if it showed up there, but good point there, Marcel. That would be cool to know. And Donald Jackson, does the U.S. Treasury Department still have confiscated Bitcoin to sell, Omar? Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was just reading earlier about a Silk Road. He was called like the Xanax guy. It was an article, I think it was on either Cointelegraph or Coindesk over the last few days, talking about how they were moving something like $34 million worth of Bitcoin that have been confiscated from the Silk Road seller who was, again, selling Xanax pills. So yeah, I mean, they continue to confiscate, right? And just sell it. Usually they'll do some sort of auction, as you know, and sell it that way. I believe that's how the Winklevoss twins initially got so wealthy in Bitcoin, was they bought through auctions at a discount. So yeah, that is something that continues to happen, confiscation and so on, and selling by the US. Put it in a strategic reserve, guys. Anyway, I'll hold my breath for that. Not really, because I probably would die, but I would love to see it. I would think nothing would be better probably to see that, as far as showing a dedication to really trying to evolve an economy, the leading economy, perhaps. No, there's probably better leading economies than here in the United States, wherever you're at, maybe. Yeah, it would be really cool to be a leader in that regard, right? And show that we're trying to evolve modern economies. But yeah, I don't think that's going to be happening within the next 2 days. I dreadfully hope that I'm wrong. Anyway, we'll finish with our quote of the day here, related to patience, by Joyce Mayer. Patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. Take care, everyone. Much love. Thank you once more for showing up, and stay cryptic. Peace.